Hello and welcome to Meet a Columban. Our guest today is Fr Taemoon Kwon. Now, Taemoon comes from Korea. He was ordained about 11 years ago in 2010. We're going to talk to him today about his early life as a Catholic and then as a person preparing and discerning a vocation to the missionary life. But Taemoon's family did not receive the sacrament of baptism until he was about 10 years old. So although his memory of that day is probably more one of a good party at home and happiness in the family, he does remember the day that he was baptized. Then quite early in life, he developed a dream or a fantasy about being a missionary. And as we welcome you, Taemoon, I'd like to begin by asking you if you could tell us something about that dream or something about that fantasy that you experienced.
Okay. Okay.
So you went to the movies one day when you were quite young.
Yeah, it's elementary school. Yeah.
Yeah. And what was the movie you went to see?
The movie was the Mission. Is the main actor is the Robert De Niro and Jeremy Irons. And
they were missionaries among people in the jungle of South America.
Yeah. Mm.
And how did you see yourself in that movie?
I found this very interesting. It's kind of the missionary life. It looks like I really like to have it. So especially the two missionary, the Robert De Niro and Jeremy Irons, they also have also good relationship with the native people by singing and eating together and chatting also. So my vocation as the missionary is grew up through the scene of movie. It's very romantic. So, yeah.
Well, many decisions in life and many things that come true in life begin with a dream.
Mm-mm.
Now, the dream may never be lived out in quite the way that it began. And maybe you never got to go and hack your way around the jungles in South America.
Mm-mm.
But the parish church that you and your family belong to was a parish staffed by Columban priests.
Yes.
During your years in high school, you got to know some of these priests quite well.
Mm-mm.
I think Father Ray Scanlon, who lives here in Australia, he was one of the priests that you met during your time in high school at the parish.
Mm-mm.
And then you met another priest who taught you something about yourself, that you can be quite competitive.
Mm-mm.
Which priest was that?
It's fortunately I grew up under the Columban parish. So as you already said, I met the Paul Kinney, Michael McCarthy, John Smith, Ray Scanner, John Nahan. So John Smith was the one who are very competitive. So fortunately, he invited me to play the table tennis regularly. I think it's about at least 3 times a week, which is very often. And I really had also good relationship with him. And so it was my high school time. But early stage, he played very well. So always I lost the game. But that time I didn't know the John Smith was very competitive. When I saw him, he performed as pastor. He was very, very humble. He is very humble and very spiritual and very quiet. But when he played table tennis, he totally changed it. He was very competitive. And also, he expressed also his feeling when he lost the game. So while I was playing also with him, when also my skill for the table tennis also when the group developed. So sometimes I won. So I never realized myself also, I'm also very competitive. So I learned from him. I'm very competitive. Yeah.
And you don't like being beaten, huh? And you have great determination to do the things you want to do and to do the things you decide to do. And as part of that time in your parish with the Columban priests, you also began to think about joining the Columban Society and becoming a missionary priest yourself. You went along to, I think you'd already been to a vocation gathering or a vocation discerning gathering run by the Diocese of Seoul.
Yes.
But during this time, you went to a Columban meeting where the atmosphere was quite different from the first one that you attended with the Archdiocese.
Oh, yeah.
In what ways were they different that appealed to you?
Actually, I attended the vocation gathering when I was the middle school. It was, as you said, the Seoul Diocese organized. But I lost interest to continue going there because it's too many candidates. I believe it's more than 50 people were there. And the schedule of the gathering was so tight, like the school class. So in this situation, I couldn't enjoy. So maybe after I attended 3 or 4 times there, and then I stopped going there. But when I was high school, I was told also to try to go to vocation gathering, the Columban organized. So I tentatively attended the vocation gathering. So at that time, the Liam O'Keefe, he was the vocation director. And there are only 2 candidates. He also same age with me. He also was high school student. I still remember my feeling during that time. I felt being respected because the Liam O'Keefe, he listened to me very carefully. And also I liked the mass because the Liam helped me to drink the blood of Christ, which was the first time for me to drink the mass wine. So I really like it, and I feel also blessed. So afterward, I kept on attending the vocation gathering regularly. So after that, I met also many Columban, like the Michael Yodon, Tony O'Brien, and Oliver Kennedy. They all influenced me very well to nourish my vocation as missionary. Yeah.
Now, despite attending these gatherings during your high school days, and despite your positive feeling about the Columbans and the Columban priests, when you graduated from high school, you decided not to go to the seminary at that stage, but you went to university and studied architecture, I think. Is that correct? Architecture and architectural design.
Yeah.
Why did you opt or choose to go to university rather than follow up your other desire to be part of the Columban Society?
I found this too early because when I graduated from high school, it was only 18 years old. It's too early. I believe I didn't have very deep sense of missionary. And also, honestly, I really wanted to experience the wider searchlight before I joined Columban. So that's why I studied architecture design at college. And then I also have many friends, and also traveling also. I travel in Korea, in many places. And I finished also military service for 26 months. Yeah. So as you know, in Korea, the military service is compulsory. It's all the men who accepted who are accepted the mentally and physically handicapped people, and all men should attend the military service. So I attended for 26 months. Yeah, and then afterward, I follow my early dream to be missionary. So I joined Columban. Yeah.
Now, after joining the Columban, how did you find it different from being in military service? Because in the military, you're living with other men, you live very close together. And also when you go to the seminary, you live with the other students who are other men, you live very close together. But I presume there was quite a different atmosphere that you experienced between the military and the seminary.
Of course, it's a lot.
And I presume you made good friends in the military with other people.
Yes.
And also made good friends with other people, other students and priests in the Columban. But you learned something different in the Columbans from what you learned in the military. What would you think was the major difference?
The major thing is in military service, it's very difficult for me to find my own inner freedom. I have to follow the order. Yeah. If my commander order me to do something, I have to do that.
Yes.
Without questioning, without asking the question, why I have to do, why I have to do. But living in Columban, especially formation house, it always asks me the reason why I'm doing like this. Especially reflect on myself, why I feel like this, especially why I feel like this. So it's investigate my feeling, which is very important to develop my own journey. But in the military, yeah, it's very difficult to find my own inner freedom. Just follow and do. Yeah.
It's quite a different life.
Oh, it is, yeah.
And also you were a seminarian for many more years than what you were in the military. And eventually in 2010, you were ordained a priest. And after that, you worked in Taiwan. Now, up until that stage, you were a young Korean man. Your language was Korean. You spoke Korean in your parish. You spoke Korean with your family. But in the Columban, you had to learn to speak English, which learning any foreign language is a big challenge. And then when you moved to Taiwan after ordination, you had to begin to learn Chinese, which was a third big challenge for you. But in Taiwan, you spent a number of years, and your main assignment was with the Aboriginal people of Taiwan in the mountain area. And it may not have been the mountain quite with the jungle of South America that you dreamed about after watching the Mission movie. But nevertheless, it was an experience with, to you, a completely foreign people who had a different way of life, spoke a different language, had different customs, ate different food. But you got on well with them. You learned to live with them. And they taught you many things. What did you learn from these people?
They are very kind and they are very hospitable. And And they really focus on also relationship. And also the great nature. They always have the deeper sense of gratitude. All the natures embrace them and take care of them. So they are very humble to God. Very naturally. And that is also what I learned. And this is one of the story about the vegetarian story.
Yes.
Maybe I just like to share. Early stage when I was assigned to be there, as I told you, they are very hospitable. So it's almost each day each of them invited me to have meal at their home. And they prepare so many dishes. But the main thing is about the meat, which is the mountain pig. They cook with the mountain pig and the flying squirrel. Yeah, this is very precious, the meal. But sometimes I found the smell so strong, but I felt very embarrassed to refuse to eat it. So I had a very good idea. So in the Sunday Mass, in the homily, I told them, thanks for your inviting me to have meal in your house. But I really liked to eating, but I don't eat meat. I'm the vegetarian. Because I feel embarrassed to refuse to eat the meat, so especially mountain pig and flying squirrel. But actually, I love eating the meat. And after that, still they invited me to have a meal there very often. And then after that, they always gave me the vegetable. So sometimes I feel I'm tired to eating the vegetable, but I couldn't say anything. I just say, oh, thank you. This is the vegetable. This is most I like the most. So 3 months later, the Korean sister, she came to my parish and cooked because she know in my parish there are many elderly people and they never experienced eating the Korean food. So she cooked the meal. It's like the barbecue and the bulgogi. Bulgogi is the sweet, the beef like this. So for a long time, I didn't see the Korean meal and then Korean meat. So at that time, there are more than 10 parishioners there, and then there is the plenty of the dishes. So I pray very quickly, and then my chopstick unconsciously went into the meat beef, point out the beef, the sweet beef. And then at that time, one of the parishioners shouted to the sister, "Hey, the sister, go! Father Taemoon doesn't eat meat." So when I heard that, my chopstick changed it to direction to kimchi. So that time I couldn't eat the meat, even though I really like to eat. I wish to eat, but I couldn't because of what I said to them. I'm vegetarian.
So you became a victim of your own story.
It is.
But nevertheless, you had quite a deep and profound experience during your last day.
Of course,
in that appointment, where you went to the chapel to pray, and you sat, and you came to understand or to be able to speak about something really precious to you.
Yeah. So they're really lovely people and really I enjoy. But I remember at the last day before I left the parish because I had a new assignment. So I sat at the chapel and watched, just look at the Christ in the tabernacle and giving thanks to him and allowing me to enjoy this ministry. So at that time, I deeply felt how much God loved them. His love to them was entirely conveyed to my heart. Then I realized because God loved them so much, I could enjoy doing mission there. So thanks to this, so I look at I look at the parishioner with God's eyes and heart. So I managed to deal with difficulties, and I never being overwhelmed. Instead, I embrace my shortcoming and their lives in need as well. So therefore, I had a full of great memory with them and gratitude to God at that time. So this is what I learned about doing mission there. So I don't think the doing mission is from my own perspective, doesn't deal with the great achievement like I as missionary did a good job, I changed them. No, instead, I fully expressed myself to them and they accepted me. They also expressed themselves to me and I accepted them. It's like the real life experience in loving and being loved. That's what I know. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Taemoon, for sharing with us about your life and your experience as a foreign missionary, both in Korea and in Taiwan. And we thank you deeply for being with us today.
Thank you.
We've been speaking with Taemoon Kwon, who's a Korean Columban, who has been working in Taiwan, and currently his assignment is in Manila in the Philippines, where he's working with the young Columban students. And they come from Chinese-speaking background, from English-speaking background, and also from Korean-speaking background. He's a man who speaks all three languages and has a profound and deep experience of the mission life to share with them and to use in guiding them.